Hello again, YouTube. This is Custom Edgeworks with another knife review. This is the Spyderco Domino Generation 2, I guess you could say. It's the second variation of this knife that has been produced by Spyderco. The first one had a much less appealing, in my opinion, scale on the front here that was, I think it was like a laminate with, I don't know, G10 and carbon fiber, or G10 made to look like carbon fiber. It looked cheap, so they definitely stepped it up quite a bit here. If you like the first knife, you'll love this one. It's the same thing, it just looks way better now. I think pretty much anybody would agree to that. It just looks awesome. If you didn't like the first knife, or the first generation of it, you're not going to like this one either, unless the reason why you didn't like the first one is because of looks, because nothing changed. It's the same knife. But I did like the first one. I just didn't like the aesthetics of it. So now that they improved it, I'm in love. This is one of my favorite production flippers. And what they did is they made a lightning strike carbon fiber with a blue twill. I think that's really unique. It has very mild texture to it, but it does provide some texture. The edges are nice and rounded off. It's very comfortable in hand. Screws are all flush. Stone washed titanium finish everywhere, on the back, on the sides, inside. It has been drilled out. Let's see if I can get the lighting to show that. You can kind of see on the top there, but anyway, it's drilled out, so it lightens it up a little bit. And it is flow-through design with pillar construction and the lanyard hole. Okay, and I love this blade design. It is, it's not my favorite. I usually prefer more of a Bowie style, or a nice drop point with some good belly on it. But this is reminiscent of the Sage 3 line blades. Actually, a lot of Spyderco blades look similar to this. More of that leaf style or spear point, whatever you want to call it. Full flat grind, big old Spydy-hole here, and yes, it's made out of that outstanding super steel Spyderco CTS-XHP. Rolls right off the tongue. And made in Taiwan. Which, hey, I don't care as long as the quality control is as good as this. This is amazing. Smooth as butter, solid lockup, outstanding blade centering. Fit and finish is just beautiful. Detent's perfect. Flipping action is insane. Just flies out. And it's a very friendly flipper, which may sound weird to some people, but I can hand a lot of flipper knives to a lot of my friends who might not really be into knives or familiar with that particular knife, and they try to flip it and they kind of got to get a feel for it before they can actuate it properly and deploy the blade quickly. This one was just the opposite. Every single person I handed this to, and I handed it to a lot of people, some people who just don't touch knives, they kind of looked at it and I said, push this thing right here, just use the flipper, and they just tried it and they're like, whoa, and it shoots out like that. It's just an easy flipper that works really well. You can lever it, you can light switch it, or you can push it, the press method, and it just always works. Very smooth. I love it. Springs out of there, and the detent is really nice. This is one of the first knives I couldn't shake the blade out. So either I got an awesome detent and mine's an exception, or you'll maybe see the same thing. Pretty cool. Quad carry. Okay, so you can carry it tip up or tip down, right or left. It's cool because it works for a lot of people, and I like that from a marketing standpoint. But if I had my choice, there'd be 3 holes like that right here where this clip is, and there'd be no holes anywhere else. None there, none there, none there. Sorry, lefties. You know, I guess I'd make an exception. Up there too, why not? Just so lefties can carry tip up. I really, for one, don't carry tip down for many obvious reasons. No offense to those who prefer that. There's just quite a few disadvantages that way, and it's less safe. But when you have these extra holes here, you have an added chance of getting different debris in here by the pivot system, which I don't like. I don't want any extra crap getting in there and slowing down the deployment of my blade over time. So that's just my preference. But you do have that option to carry any way you want, which is nice. I believe it's a little under 3.5 inches. I don't remember the exact measurement. Comes with a really nice edge on it. I did some cut tests on it. It worked really well. Probably close to shaving sharp, but as all you knife people out there know, there's a lot sharper than shaving sharp. The jimping on the back is very mild. The jimping on the finger choil here, very mild. Disappointingly mild. That's one of the only negatives to this knife, in my opinion. Okay, I think if you press hard enough, it might give you some level of traction, but I just don't know. It's very little, if anything. Another really small nitpick, nothing big. I really think it would make sense for that Spydy-hole to go this way and line up with this choil here. That way it'd be easier to, I mean, I have no problem getting to it, but it just makes sense if it was up here, to me. I don't know, maybe if they moved it there and I tried deploying the blade, I don't know, maybe my finger would hit this part. I'm not quite sure. You know, right here, maybe it would hit there if I was deploying the blade. But either way, it still deploys really well with the Spydy-hole. But it's such a nice flipper, I'm never going to use that. The clip that came on it is a very standard Spyderco pocket clip that you see on their knives. It's probably the same one or very similar to what's on the paramilitary too. But because of where the holes are tapped on this knife, it sucked donkey balls. It was terrible. This knife almost fell out of my pocket I don't know how many times. Okay, and I dress like a normal person. I don't have big old huge baggy jeans, and I don't have skinny cowboy jeans either that I need to take off with emergency scissors or blades or anything like that. Just normal fitting jeans, okay? So it just kept working its way out of the pocket. And it's not that the clip didn't have tension, it did. It was pressing up against the titanium firmly. The problem was that it just had too much of the blade exposed and sticking out of my pocket, which I brought up in other knife reviews. The more of your knife that's sticking out of your pocket, the easier it will come out of your pocket on its own. And if you see where these screws are right here, the clip didn't even catch the pocket till about down here. Because I remember I had some of the blade showing. So I literally had this much of the knife sticking out of my pocket. Yeah, ridiculous. Terrible, unacceptable. Send it back, kind of unacceptable. I didn't even carry it until I got this clip for it. And now I can't get it out of my pocket. I love it. Look at that deep carry, that's awesome. Perfect. And the other complaint, which is, again, just aesthetic, they put a black clip on it. Where'd that come from? I don't get it. Look at the side of the blade. You have this gray, silver, silver, black. Why? It just clashed really bad. So I'm glad to have the silver on there. I guess it would make sense if you had the black on this side, because it kind of goes with the carbon fiber. But even then, I think the silver would go better. Again, tie in with all the hardware. Something else that's amazing about this is the fact that it's not titanium to steel contact for the lockup engagement, which is a big deal for me because I like my knives to last. Not only, this is a dual purpose, not only does this steel insert that you see here have some weak ass jimping, and it meets up with the blade tang, so that way it's not titanium on steel, and that those two materials don't wear very well together. That's why you'll see more and more knife makers adding this feature where the lockup is actually steel on steel. Not only does it have this insert with screws so it's replaceable, but you can see the little cutout in here, and maybe if the lighting's right, let's see if we can get on this side. It kind of extends right there. I don't know if you can see it where those screws are. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, you can see it right in here. It's a over travel stop, so I can't push this lock bar too far out and ruin the lockup strength. It stops it so you can't over travel. So for this size and the materials you're getting, it's up there and a high value buy in my opinion. You can get a lot better, but for the custom finishing that you have on it, right around $200, maybe a little bit less, I think it's a great deal. Only 4 ounces, that's not bad. There is lighter out there, but it's definitely good enough for everyday carry. I just don't think you can really go wrong with the blade. So check one out. Really cool look with the new scale there with the blue twill, and the steel that they use. I think you'll see wears really well even with heavy use. The only thing you may want to pay attention to, and this is similar to many of the Spyderco blade designs, is that with a leaf style blade like this, the tips are really good for precise cutting, but they can be a little bit more vulnerable if you decide to use your knife for a pry bar, so don't do that. But it comes from a pretty good size blade stock, so I think you will get some decent rigidity and strength out of the tip, but just be aware that it is very sharp and it might be a little less durable than, you know, some of your drop points you might see out there. But great knife, a little bit larger than the Sage series overall. Ergonomically it fits into the hand really well. You can choke up on it, of course, like most of Spyderco's, for a little more precise cutting. But there you have it. It's just an awesome all-around knife. Please give me your feedback. I appreciate it, and thanks for watching.